Hello viewers, I am your host Rohit Khurana on Intellect Digest, and we are back with the Xolo A500S, this time with a gaming and benchmark review. We'll do a comprehensive gaming review with games like the Dead Trigger, Frontline Commando, Subway Surf and Temple Run 2 and see how it performs on the Xolo A500S. We'll also show you benchmarks on Antutu Quadrant Standard and Nina Mark II. Let's get started. First thing that I notice on this display is that it is fairly crisp and sharp. This phone is powered by a 1.2 GHz dual-core processor, 512 MB RAM and has Mali 400 GPU, which does a good job when it comes to graphics rendering. As you can see, there is not much of lag on this game and the graphics are rendering fairly fine. And we get our first headshot. And few more coming. The speakers are also fairly loud, so it gives you an immersive experience. The sound as well as the overall experience which you get with the graphics and smooth controls on this game make you feel really good about playing games on the Xolo A500S. Next, let's try the Dead Trigger, which is a zombie shooting game. It is also fairly interesting. This phone has 4 GB internal memory, out of which around 2 GB is available to the user. If you want to install more games, you should preferably get an SD card for expanding the memory and install those games on the memory card. So our experience with the Dead Trigger looks smooth here. It's rendering good graphics and the display quality is also fairly good here. I'm finding no difficulty in pointing and shooting. The gameplay and control overall experience is good. This may not be a very expensive phone, but it does the gaming just right. The GPU Mali 400 is doing a good job here. There is no noticeable lag. We are able to kill zombies very easily and the shutter gate opens. So the overall gameplay experience on the Dead Trigger was satisfactory. Subway Surf is a popular game on Android platform and is played by grown-ups and kids alike, and they love the kind of agility and the graphics this game has on the offer. The colors are really coming alive on this display. I must say that besides being a budget phone, the display on this phone is extraordinarily sharp and clear. It does not have very high resolution either. It is 800 by 480 pixels, but it does the job fairly well. The contrast level and the color quality is satisfactory. Let's try Temple Run 2 and see how it performs. Now, Temple Run not only uses your touch inputs but also your motion inputs. So the gyroscope sensor or the gravity sensors are all tested very well by playing some motion and touch based games, so that you can tell actually how sensitive a device is to the touch inputs while in a gameplay experience. It is working fine with the touch inputs as well as the motion inputs, although I have noticed that it skips sometimes my input, so the touch may not be picking up my inputs very sharply, but the game does work fine. The graphics are rendered okay. Let me try Racing Moto to see how the motion sensors are calibrated. This game uses your touch as well as motion, so seems okay. The control is good on the motorbike. Let me quickly show you some of the benchmark scores on the Xolo A500S. So we ran the Antutu benchmark and the score came out to be 10,187, which is not a bad score considering that this phone is priced at around 6,500 rupees. This is around an entry-level Android phone which you can get. Let me also run the quadrant standard and show you how the scores come out to be on this benchmark tool. The quadrant standard score for the Xolo A500S has come out to be 2232, which is a decent score. As you can see, this is not a bad score for a device which has been very economically priced and has very limited hardware resources. Let us also test the graphics by running a Nina Mark II benchmark. On our last run we got a score of around 41. Let's run it again in front of you and show you how it works. So we get a score of around 41 frames per second, which is not bad for a phone of this price and this affordable range. A score of 41.2 frames per second is actually very good. So summing up our gaming and benchmark performance review of the Xolo A500S, this phone is fairly impressive for most of the shooting games as well as some basic graphic games. For installing heavy games you might need to install additional SD card as the internal memory is limited on this phone. It does a fairly good job when it comes to graphics rendering. The benchmarks etc. work out to be pretty fine. It has 1.2 GHz dual core processor, 512 MB of RAM, 4 GB internal memory and a 4-inch display with 480 by 800 pixels display resolution. This is all we have on our benchmarking and gaming review of the A500S. If you like our video, please press the like button below. For more such videos, do press the subscribe button. This is your host Rohit Khurana signing off. Thanks for watching.